Correct.
We are all Richard Allen!
Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching. What's going on, everybody? Dogs are just sitting there, not doing anything. Well, not that it's any of your guys' fault, but I put out this video today that I spent probably 10 or 11 or 12 hours working on, and it, it's getting some views, but not really doing very well. It's like, it just, and when the premiere was going on, there was very little support in there of it. Rough day so far, rough day. Unbelievable. It's just, I don't know what the deal is with YouTube, you spend that many hours making a video and it gets so, did all of you share the video, by the way? I mean, that would really help out if you go out and share the video, because maybe other people would see it. Because some reason it didn't make it out. It's got half the views of a recent video. Right. Hey, welcome in incognito mode. Alright, well, anyways, we're doing the show today. I'm not sure what's going on with the video, but I'm trying to have a strong end of the month, and it's not really happening. But if you guys have the ability to help support the channel during this live stream, I would appreciate it. Yesterday wasn't the greatest. Today, even on the live stream, for some reason, wasn't the greatest. I think there was $1 in there. So if you guys can help support the channel, that'd be great. My channel is different than the other ones, where I actually go out and try to make a difference, where they just stare at the screen and talk to the chatters. I try to do stuff. Okay. Hey, thanks, Walker. Appreciate it. Well, yeah, everybody says, yeah, great work, great work. Did you share the video, though? All right, so let's see. Again, Brian Coburger is the most unlucky person in the world, because he just happened to buy a Balaclava in January of 2022, 2 months before he bought the K-Bar knife sheath on Amazon. Wow. I mean, my God, you guys. Could there be a more unlucky person than Brian Coburger? Hey, thanks, Pam from New York. Gifted a membership to Jolene May, then Alley Cake. There you go. Look at Amber Maiden. There you go. Thank you. Started the show off right. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, everybody. Everybody supporting the channel, that'd be great. We just need to... I want to be able to get back to what we used to be doing here. Not sure how possible that is, but... Balaclava is, well, do you see the thumbnail? It's one of those face masks that you wear. You see criminals wear them, but you can also, there's different applications for it. They're going to claim he was a fisherman or something. But just being a young kid, doing the things that kids do these days. Hey, you pro burgers out there, doesn't it bother you a little bit? Isn't it a little bit shocking to you that he just happens to buy a balaclava from Dick's Sporting Goods in January of 2022, then, oh my God, on Amazon in March he bought a K-bar knife, the exact make and model of the sheath that was left on the bed with his DNA on it? Doesn't it bother you that during the time that the knife sheath was left in the house, that the white Elantra, missing its front license plate, was parked outside for the exact time that knife sheath was was left in there and the time that the girls were killed? Doesn't it bother you that he admits that his phone was turned off and a vehicle matching his description, even missing the front license plate, was a third of the mile from the house? God, he's unlucky. Yeah, I mean, just that alone it's just incredible. How many of you have actually, I bet you if you did a poll and you asked people, I'm not going to do one because trolls will always skew it, but if you said, how many of you have bought a balaclava other than for Halloween or, I mean, I wouldn't even say that, just in general. I bet you it's like 1% of the society, people have bought one of those, okay? If you have 100 people, one person will go, yeah, I bought one of those. Well, Gray, there's 250 million people in the United States. So that would be 2.5 million people. Okay, good for you. And did they also buy a K-bar knife sheath? And did they drive a white... That just goes on and on and on. Hey, thanks, Allie Cake. All right. Very kind, very kind. Thanks, Amber, up there again for the cat eye. The da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Right. My cousin had one in the 80s, yeah. You always, the pro burgers will always find the light at the end of the rainbow, just this simple, seemingly simple explanation that they think it is. But what they don't do is combine it with all of the other elements and go, yeah, it's hard to keep making excuses for them. Is there anybody in here that was a pro burger that's turned in the last, I don't know, couple weeks at least, with the new information coming out? Or are the pro burgers just so... It's weird that there's a whole name for that cult. I mean, it's really strange. But is there anybody out there that was a pro burger prior and now they have seen the light, that you've went, oh, okay, well, for a while I wasn't quite sure, but now I've seen it, I know the information. Yeah, there's people out there that actually think he's innocent. They come up with so many excuses. They're going with this cartel hit thing. Brent Kopacka was the thing for a while. Some people are still doing that one. They've brought in alien abduction at one point. I don't know if that was brought up. That was being facetious there. Oh, this is one of the things that was one of the documents, a receipt from Corner Club, by the way. Look at this. Corner Club at 12:22 a.m. That's about, well, I don't think they'd left yet. That's like an hour before. But look at this. This is Kaylee Gonzalez. She had, and I don't know if she was buying also for Madison, but 9 well vodkas, 2, and then adding juice on 2 of them. Well, what was the other 7? Just straight shots? And then 1 pint of beer. All right. And, that's a decent tip for a college kid. All right. There you go. That was in the documents. All right. I have a... Now, what was a weird one that somebody... in that super chat yesterday, that the president of the university moved to another school and then tried to set up Brian Coburger or something? I don't get that one at all. I have no idea what that even means. Yeah. So for those who haven't been here, I'll tell you what the goal on this channel is to help support my channel, to allow me to keep doing shows. But without doing the show, I couldn't do the rest of the stuff that we do. So this channel is given $235,000. We just did another $500 a couple days ago to various true crime related charities over the last 5 years, which is a pretty significant amount. That's like an average of 50 something. And this channel relies on the generosity of the people watching, and I have ad revenue, and I get the channel memberships, and then I take a large portion each month and fund our scholarship fund, our DNA funds, and various charities along the way. And usually, this year hasn't been that great, but this month I'm trying to get back on track where we're donating over $4,000 or $5,000, something like that. So that's with the help of all of you guys, like Timothy Cecil right there. That's what makes it happen. If people aren't supporting the channel, then it doesn't happen. And I don't know how else to word it, you guys. So if you're out watching, pretend I'm Starbucks and I'm making you a coffee. Maybe something like that. Yeah, our grand total so far forever is 235,311. We're only at 6,000 this year so far. But as you can see, we did 22, 42, 62, 57, 49, and last month was better than the first 2 months, but just trying to keep on trucking. I guess there's only been 2 months, and then now we're on to the third. All right, so if you can, that'd be great. Thank you. We also have the coffee option right here that somebody, even during the premiere today, they said, "Oh yeah, I'll send you a coffee right after the show." Well, the coffee never came, so it's like people just say whatever they're going to say, but I actually need the support to keep this channel doing what we're doing. All right, so thank you. All right, where is the where is that? Yeah, so I just have, this is how many new documents came out today. All of these. And whenever they're really small, I think we can just bust through every one of them, because some of them are just really tiny, like this one. Comes now, Brian Coburger. This one is motion file defendant's reply to under seal. We'll see the full documents, and therefore the defense. See, some of these, it's just not even worth reading. They're just meaningless drivel stuff. This one's about a jury questionnaire. Comes Brian Coburger by and through his attorney of record, and hereby moves the court for the order to seal the defendant's edits to the court proposed jury questionnaire. Hey, thanks, wise child. And this one is the touch DNA. So this one might be interesting. It's 10 pages. You want to do maybe we can have the chat GPT break it down. This one. Chat GPT. Let's see. Summarize. PDF file. Throw that one in there. I guess a lot of you didn't hear what I just said. All right, here we go. Thanks, Marjorie Morse. Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, people often say, hey, love your content, but, when you're doing the live streams, it's pretty difficult. Yeah, I got to tell you. All right.
The document is a legal reply filed by Brian Coburger's defense team in response to the state's objection to the defense's motion in Lim and Mill 6th, which seeks to exclude certain expert testimony and terminology related to DNA evidence, particularly touch or contact DNA, by state expert Rylene Nowlin. Summary of key points. 1. Terminology, touch, and contact DNA. The defense argues the term touch DNA is misleading and implies knowledge of how DNA was deposited, which is scientifically unknowable. Coburger's team cites NIST and peer-reviewed literature recommending against using terms that suggest DNA origin or deposition method. The state argues touch DNA is a common and harmless descriptor, but the defense counters it's unnecessary and prejudicial, and the concepts can be explained.
They think it means it implies that he himself touched the K-bar knife sheath. Well, because he did, but they want to make it seem like he didn't touch it, it got deposited through some other means, somebody else touched him, and then they touched that, and...
Explained without it. 2. Nowlin's testimony on DNA transfer. The state wants Nowlin to testify that the DNA found was likely due to direct contact. The defense argues this opinion is speculative, not scientifically supported, and inappropriate under Idaho rules of evidence. They emphasize that Nowlin herself acknowledges the technology cannot determine when or how DNA was transferred. 3. Nowlin's qualifications. The defense challenges Nowlin's expertise in DNA transfer, stating her CV lacks training or publications specific to this area. They assert she's qualified to talk about DNA analysis, but not about transfer mechanics, i.e. how or when DNA was deposited. 4. Risk of
I don't know what that means, Detect League. You do such good rundowns, incredible 3D models, and recreations, but 23 times will be interesting video for you to make. Don't know what that means. Nobody knows what that means.
Jury confusion. The defense warns that Nowlin's testimony could mislead or confuse the jury and waste time during cross-examination. 5. Legal precedents and standards.
Thanks, Blue Line
Citing
King.
Idaho case law, the defense argues that expert opinions must be scientifically sound and helpful to the jury, not speculative or conclusory. Conclusion. The defense urges the court to exclude the use of the terms touch or contact DNA. Bar Nowlin from testifying on how or when DNA was transferred, i.e. opinions suggesting direct versus indirect transfer. Let me know if you'd like this broken down even further, or if you want a version you can copy-paste into a report or document.
Isn't that amazing? No, we don't need that. Yeah, you didn't type that in, though, Detect League. You didn't type that in. You just said, but 23 times will be interesting video for you to make. That just doesn't mean anything to anybody. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was 12 or 13 times. I don't know about the, when you say 23. Hey, thanks, Allie Cake. Gifted 5 memberships to Walker, Rachel L., Jeannie Karam, and then Kay has Shelties, and Lorraine Murphy. All right, so the next one. This is probably a shorter one, too. State objection to inconclusive data. This one's 4 pages. Whether someone is okay, let's throw that one in there too. Well, I can just zip through it. Brian Coburger, by and through his attorney of record, and hereby respectfully replies to the state objection to Mr. Coburger's motion to limit the admission of inconclusive data obtained from item Q13, point 1, not completely excluded. Mr. Coburger filed his objection to this evidence based on the questions and answers elicited by the state during the testimony of Jade Miller in relationship to the Q13. I think this is the Madison Mogan's fingernail clippings. Let's see. As the state concedes multiple comparisons of multiple individuals to this data rendered inconclusive data, including for JD, CB, EC, XC, Bethany Funk, Xana Kernodal, Ethan Chapin. Let's see. I don't know who's on there. Madison Mogan, and then Kaylee doesn't have those letters in there. I'm not sure who J. Oh, I think that's the boyfriend, the JD one. Miller testified at the grand jury consistently with her report. She explained this statement. Wonder why they had to black that out. The important language from the statement is one way or another, whether someone is a contributor, much as with the MIL number 6, to try to take the opinion further, as the state wants, would be speculative and improper testimony by an expert. And as with the opinion regarding the how and when of the presence of DNA on Q1.1, testimony beyond that, as stated in the report, would be replacing the scientifically supported opinion of Miller, written in a report and reviewed by her colleagues and consistent with her lab protocols, into the realm of speculative, misleading, and confusing opinion. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I thought that was really confusing anyways, the way that was presented. When we went over that document or that information at that time, it just seems so, like, I mean, what is it saying? I mean, if you're not, I guess you're not excluding Coburger, which, adds to the circumstantial evidence chain. Thanks, Timothy Moore. And Alley Cake up there. Hey, Detective League, let us just do the show the way we want to do it. We didn't have you, we don't have you come in here to do your, running dialogue, okay? Get what I'm saying? This is just what we're going over. Yeah, I already said that. They can't rule them out. That's about all you can do with it. All right. Anyways, I'm going to move on to the next one. This one, reply to the state's response to defendant's motion to preclude the death penalty and adopt another necessary procedures. All right, let's, I'm going to actually have, this one I'm going to have ChatGPT, because it's 34 pages and nobody wants to sit and listen to a long, drawn-out, all right, let's see. Do another one. Summarize PDF file. All right, here we go. And upload it. It's 34 pages long. They do a great job. Yeah, cool. Just watch and, comment here and there, but you're sort of like preempting what we're going over. Yeah. All right. I think I can start playing it already.
The document is a legal filing titled, Reply to State's Response to Defendant's Motion to Preclude the Death Penalty and Adopt Other Necessary Procedures. 8. Disclosure violations filed on behalf of Brian C. Coburger in the 4th Judicial District Court of Idaho.
Is that in the documents right here, Detect League? That you're talking about?
On March 24, 2025. Summary of key points. 1. Discovery volume and complexity. The defense argues that the sheer volume of discovery, over 68 terabytes, is unprecedented and unmanageable. It compares the case to other high-profile cases where far less data, 15 terabytes, was still considered extreme. The defense highlights that reviewing such a volume would take years and massive resources that it simply doesn't have. 2. Technology disparity. The prosecution uses sophisticated case management tools like prosecutor by carpal and axon evidence, which help tag, search, transcribe, and organize evidence. The defense has no access to similar tools and faces major challenges due to password-protected PDFs, unsearchable video, audio files, unclear naming conventions, manual upload and organization of evidence. 3. Late disclosures. Despite set deadlines, the state continues to provide discovery and expert disclosures late, including documents requested over a year ago. This undermines the defense's...
What's going on, Brenda Spratt? Why do you ask that question? What is with the food truck guy that left the country? Nothing. He's the guy that's in the food truck, walking behind him, and then people started going after him, and I think his attorney said, leave for a while. I mean, what is it with... Why are people still asking these questions? Why do people still keep asking the question? It's crazy. Right. We know he did. Hey, Detective Lee, let me answer questions when they come on. And I don't want to have to time you out here in a minute. You just keep on going over and over and over. Don't worry about the food truck guy, Brenda Spratt. I thought you're one of the normal people. And this is just getting crazy.
His ability to prepare for trial or file appropriate motions, especially in a capital case.
Jesus.
4. Due process and prejudice.
That means you're watching garbage.
The defense argues that prejudice has occurred, similar to what was found in the Valo Daybell case, where the death penalty was precluded due to late disclosures.
So basically, this whole thing here is saying that because there's late disclosures, the death penalty as a punishment to the prosecution should be taken off the table, just like in the Daybell case. Okay? All right. Here's the autism spectrum deal here. So let's see. GSU, you came in right at the right time. Let's see. Here we go. Summarize PDF file. There we go.
Here's a summary of the PDF titled Defendant's Reply to State's Response to Defendant's Motion to Strike Death Penalty or Autism Spectrum Disorder, filed on behalf of Brian Coburger. Summary. The defense argues that Brian Coburger's autism spectrum disorder ASD should preclude the state from pursuing the death penalty against him. Key points raised include legal foundations, U.S. Supreme Court cases such as Atkins v. Virginia and Roper v. Simmons, are cited to argue that individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities, or those with juvenile-level functioning, should be exempt from the death penalty. The defense claims that ASD impairs adaptive functioning, similar to intellectual disability, even if IQ is normal or above average. Evidence of ASD and impairment. Coburger has been diagnosed with ASD, supported by neuroimaging and expert reports. Since childhood, he displayed classic ASD traits, social deficits, special educat ion needs, rocking.
Okay, well, I don't know, Detective League. You just seem to jump in on everything. So which document are you referring to? There's a few other huge documents that are coming up in here. Are you saying that in one of those documents it describes the crime scene? And what's the name of the document? Maybe you can put that and I'll be able to get to that, all right?
Behavior, poor motor skills, speech therapy, and difficulty forming relationships. Experts claim he exhibits poor executive function, including problems with planning, reasoning, and impulse control. Misunderstanding of ASD by the state. The state.
Do you have how about that, what they just said there, GSU PM? Look at that. Expert claims he exhibits poor executive function, including problems with planning, reasoning, and impulse control. Well, I guess he did have problems planning, when he drove his own white Elantra around, just thinking that in a few days he'll be changing his license plate, and that'll be enough. And then he thought that he could remove his own DNA out of his trash, not realizing that his parents' DNA and sister would likely point to him as well, unless the sister was adopted and nobody knew.
State described, the case law, constitutional. The defense argues that Coburger's ASD may inhibit his ability to testify effectively, be misinterpreted by jurors as a lack of, lead to a bias, make him appear culp. Key takeaways. The motion insists that applying.
I know. I want to know
the
where
defense
it is,
calls for an.
Detective Lee.
Would you like a shorter version or
It's starting to talk to me. That's funny. Or what? What do you want? Yeah. Okay, the next one. I'm just going through these in order. All right. Or this one's another suspect vehicle model. Idaho Rules of Evidence states that relevant evidence is admissible. Relevant evidence is that which has any tendency to make a fact more or less probable than it would without the evidence and the facts of the consequences determining the action. Hey, thanks CR and Bridget Bauman. Great work, Gray, and excellent video today. Yeah. Well, can you guys do me a favor and go share the video from earlier today? It feels like it's a video that should have way more views. I'll be putting out the second half, where it'll be past number 3 and 4, which are crazier. But then I'll do one where they're all together, and I think that'll be the one that'll be really interesting to watch. I mean, all of them are going to be interesting, but that'll be a good one. Hey, thanks, Charity Dunning. Yeah, which one is it, though? I know. I just want to know what document. What's it about, the document? I know the one that has the Dick's Sporting Goods in it. I saw that one. It's the biggest document. It's the one that's like 100 pages. All right, I'll go check it out later. All right. All right, so here Mr. Coburger's motion sought to prevent the state from saying that the vehicle depicted at 1112 King Road camera was a Hyundai Elantra, and that the vehicle was the same vehicle identified as an Elantra on the 11225 Ridge Road camera. No, it is the same vehicle, though. That is the province of the jury. The state points out that there is no continuous video streamed to observe a path of travel. Well, you don't... As the state points out, they cannot show a vehicle at 1112 King Road continuously moving to the location of 1125 Ridge Road because they are two separate videos separated by distance, an opportunity for other places to drive or park, and opportunity for other vehicles to... Yeah, and I actually think that he did park somewhere else. Right. Vehicles to appear on camera. Opportunity for other vehicles to appear on camera. It is a question for the jury. The state argument would make sense if Mr. Coburger sought exclusion of the 1112 King Road video. He seeks exclusion of speculative statements that are in the province of the jury. Mr. Coburger is not seeking to exclude S.A. Immel's testimony on these grounds. His testimony about what make and model the vehicle at 1112 King Road will be subject to cross-examination at trial. All right, there's that one. How about so we made it to the suspect vehicle one. I'm going to go to the bottom here. In fact, why don't I go to the one that everybody probably wants to see first? All right, this huge document. All right, so here we go. I'm just going to type in, yeah, there it is right here, the word balaclava, and right here it says these are different proof of records that they went and they're saying what the validity of these things. Hey, thanks Ozzy Tricia. Can't stop but hope everyone is well. I hope you are too. It says right here, Dick's Sporting Good record of sale for Brian Coburger. These documents are maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the documents pursuant to IRE 8036. The relevance of this information is that Brian Coburger purchased a black balaclava from Dick's Sporting Goods on January 10th, 2022. Right, remember in March he bought the K-Bar knife sheath. This mask is the same type of mask described by Dylan Mortensen that she witnessed worn by a male in the residence on November 13th, 2022. Let's see. A certificate of authenticity is attached as Exhibit S8, which was included with the... Hey, let's see if does that show up in here? Hold on. Yeah, shoot. It'd be cool if that was S8. There's one, and then, oh, here it is. Is this it right here? I, the undersigned, an employee at Dick's Sporting Good. Oh, Jesus. Hold on. Sorry about that. That was a friend of mine. Birthday's coming up. What does that say? The true and original copies. Doesn't show the receipt, I guess. Maybe that's what this is right here. Now it's S9. I don't know what that is. Alright, so I'm going to go, I'm going to try to do what, so you're saying on page 34, oh yeah, okay, here we go. This is like arriving at the crime scene. So thank you. Yeah. I communicate with one of the family members. Well, thank you, Detective League. I don't know, Detect League. I don't know who you are, but you just seem to, like you're already all over the document. Well, I'm just trying to go over for the first time because I was working on the other video all morning just to get it ready to put out. Right, so anyways, here goes the, okay, where was that? Page 34. Okay, this is Brian Coburger, Professor Dave, Crime Scene Scenario Final. Let's see, the first thing to be done is block off the crime scene in order, I don't know what this is, right? What part this is, but we're just going to read it. To avoid crime scene contamination, keeping people out of the scene minimizes evidence contamination, though many may be curious to see what occurred. The theory of transfer states that we bring something with us to the crime scene and take something away, thus skewing the crime scene from the original state of contamination. This is because the original state of the crime scene was left by the criminal suspect. A lack of contamination allows the scene to be a snapshot in time. Now I'm just trying to put out the actual information, Detect League. So who wrote this thing here? This just looks like a procedural document. It's not really... I have to go up and see what he was talking about up above. I don't see what you're referring to. You gave somebody's name. Hold on. I have to go all the way up there. Add the cells. Is he even in here? He's only in there one time. This is page 5. So I'm not really sure what you're referring to where he describes the crime scene. Okay, well I didn't have time to read up the lead into it. I thought you were saying DeSales wrote this. Okay, so he wrote that up. Okay. DeSelle's student records regarding... So that was his teacher, wasn't it? Or that was the school, I mean. Never mind. Student records regarding Brian Coburger. These documents are maintained by a private university. The state would seek admission... and so maybe that's... So that was right there. And so let's go to page... Let's go back to that page 34 again. And then Brian C. Coburger, Professor Dave Seep, Crime Scene Scenario Final. So he actually wrote this thing. Does it say up above that that's what this is? Just want to make sure what we're reading here. Just kind of wondering why his name was at the top. All right, so now let's read it. If we believe that this is Coburger's wording. So first thing to keep done is to block off the crime scene in order to avoid crime scene contamination. Keeping people out of the crime scene evidence contamination though many may be curious to see what occurred. The theory of transfer states that we bring something with us to the crime scene and take something away, thus skewing the crime scene from the original state by contamination. Hey, thanks Bridget Bauman for gifting a membership. Yeah, we're still only about half the goal, you guys, so see if we can get moving tonight. Another slow one for unknown reasons. The curious must be noted and immediately evicted from the scene. People to be kept out of the scene include authorized civilians and any more than the absolute minimum number of law enforcement agents and forensic crime professors waiting to back up to arrive. I should stand guard at the scene, preventing these unauthorized people and even holding back eager officers from entering the scene. I must call my immediate supervisor and inform them of the deceased white female who is approximately 35 years of age. I must obtain an initial search warrant to search the scene. Failing to do so will mean that evidence is inadmissible. I don't know if that's absolutely the case when there's an actual homicide. I don't know. Let's see. There is another reason why holding personnel from entering is key. The coroner must be called in order to pronounce the woman dead, and EMS should be called if they were not already called by the patrol officer 15 minutes earlier, as they would have provided emergency care if the woman showed signs of life. This would have been important for many reasons. Her livelihood is one reason, but from the stance of a patrol officer or criminal investigator, she may have given a dying declaration of her attacker when informed of her impending death. Let's see. This would have been important for many reasons. Her livelihood is one reason, but from the stance of a patrol officer. So what's it saying? The coroner must be called in order to pronounce the woman dead, and EMS should be called if they were not already called by the patrol officer 15 minutes earlier, as they would have provided emergency care if the woman showed signs of life. So he made sure that there was nobody alive to have dying declarations. Forensic services are next on the list to call, as they are best equipped to handle the evidence, process it, and ensure that there is not any contamination. Their van also contains the best equipment for forensic investigation. A cursory search of the immediate area should be done, and any observation should be recorded in my field notes as to ensure the integrity of the preliminary case report. Officers who are not needed at the residence should ensure that the general area is searched for anything that stands out as well. This includes the area of the trailer park, which contains 62 trailers. So is this like a case that he was reviewing or something? You know, like how he would have done it? Thank you, Marine Co. Maybe I'll try to set up a goal up at the top. Maybe you guys will respond better to that. Let's see. We need... where do I do it? And what do you guys want if the goal is met? Nothing, pornographic or anything. Yeah, the knife sheath. I think he could have left the knife sheath there intentionally as a calling card, but he might be so angry that he missed a little spot when he tried to clean it before going there. Let's see. But as I said earlier in the evening, we were really, we need to get, we're getting near the end of the month, you guys. I don't want to have 2 nights in a row that we didn't even reach the goal. Well, I want to make a difference. We have scholarship funds that we donate to Wise Child, etc. So, I guess we can just do like after we go through all this at the end of the show, we'll do a question, discussion of it if we reach the goal. If not, I'll move on and start working on some more videos. Thanks, Cheryl Oyster. That would have been one of them for sure, because that's what that was. Let's see. Do I have to say something? Oh, yeah. Discussion of topic. All right. So I guess we could sort of throw that one. If we get 14, that'll be the same, because we'll make Cheryl Oster one. Hey, thanks, Moofies, K-Me, and Alley Cake again. And I just saw Diane sent, it's not much great. No, I mean, everything's great. Thank you. But I appreciate your dedication, detail, and amazing video work. Well, thank you, Diane. No, I mean, anything's something, right? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, this document we're reading right here is just something like a class project, right? That's really basically all it is. I should gather the following information in my notes as the investigation commences, which will later be included in my preliminary case report when the detail of the case culminate. The offense, the time of day, date, and approximate time of offense. I mean, you guys think this is interesting to read, or, I mean, it could give us an insight into, why he did certain things, perhaps. I should gather the following information. The offense, the crime of day, date, approximate time of offense is unknown, or if known. Identification of the victim, the location of the offense, the method of operation, if known, and the identification of the officer. How come that one didn't come out? Give you one there, Alley Cake. Maybe it was too late. Since the offender was not there, I would be unable to record this information initially, and the specifics of the crime won't be known until confirmed by the crime lab. Getting the approximate time is important and can be indicated by rigor mortis, which sets in about 12 hours. It's actually like 6 to 12. Or putrefaction about 10 to 20 days. All this information will aid me and as I attempt to reconstruct the scene of the crime based on the evidence location in relation to its former known position. Thanks, Mallory Beavers. And wow, 2 months. There you go, Mallory. Thank you. Equipment I will have on hand for the investigation. To be prepared for crime scene investigation, I must ensure I have a crime toolkit containing the following. A 35mm camera. Jesus, what is going on here? Hold on. Jeez. Jesus. Call after call after call. Man, that's crazy. Anyways, a portable lighting system to ensure quality photographs, that I do not miss or step over any evidence. Wouldn't that be interesting if he took photos and those are just missing and gone now? Like, I don't know. Assorted steel tape measures that can reach at least 25 feet, a ruler or other measurement marking devices, latent fingerprint equipment, gloves to protect the scene from contamination. Well, then he would obviously knows that he has to wear gloves to keep from contaminating. This will enable what I avoid leaving my latent fingerprints. Okay, well, there you go. Exactly. Yeah, forceps and small tweezers and a pair of scissors, a small saw to take evidence, for example, drywall, filter paper, or small swabs for liquid evidence or trace evidence, various evidence containers for liquid and solid evidence, paper envelopes for physical evidence, evidence tape to seal off the evidence containers, casting material to take molds of possible footprints. Interesting. Hey, thanks, CR. Appreciate it. Around the perimeter with a rubber container for the mixture. A magnifying device should be kept. Crime scene tape for the scene. Yeah, he doesn't, this is sort of written weird. Yes, everybody. Crime scene tape for the scene. You're a genius, Coburger. Hey, everybody. The crime scene tape is for the scene. Wow. What a brilliant comment that is. Protective clothing, boot covers, eyewear, fiber, free overalls, face masks. Yeah, so actually, what's interesting about this is that every single thing that you'd want to use to keep from contaminating the crime scene is exactly what he would do as a criminal, as to not contaminate the crime scene. Isn't that interesting? So he already knew all this stuff back in 2020. Hey, thank you, Texas Shrink. I might need to talk to you one of these days. I mean, this... Yeah. Crime scene tape for the scene. Protective clothing, boot covers, eyewear, fiber-free overalls, face masks, hairnets, gowns, and anything that will prevent me from contaminating the scene with things I bring with me. Jeez. You mean like your K-bar knife sheath? A blue light with yellow glasses, which makes small trace evidence more visible, and can be used to ensure that a photo is taken of all evidence. There could be a very small amount of blood somewhere, which wouldn't have been sampled, documented, or photographed otherwise. Entering the home for crime scene documentation and initial photography, videography. That's the... I may enter upon judicial approval of the search warrant and should do so with minimum number of personnel. Having too many personnel evident in the photography may put the integrity of the evidence into question and taint the scene. A contamination list should be made documenting every person who enters and exits the crime scene, and why this includes first responding officers, firefighters, EMTs, family members, criminal investigators, and all crime scene personnel. Still, there, I mean, I guess an EMT guy would make a perfect criminal, right? You quit the crime, then you get called out there to help the victim, and then any DNA at the scene you could sort of make plausible. Touch DNA. Still, there should not be that many people in the crime scene. Otherwise, contamination will be increased as the theory of exchange inevitably manifests. I must ensure that myself and my fellow crime scene personnel are wearing gloves and other protective equipment as to avoid contaminating the scene with latent fingerprints. A fiber-free boot cover would also be ideal to avoid leaving physical footprints or residue from the boot. Anything that is fiber-free and covered... How come that the goal doesn't seem to... What is the goal? I don't know, man. It seems like a couple of these, you should already have like 2 or 3 up there. A fiber-free boot cover would also be ideal to avoid leaving physical footprints or residue from the boot. Anything that is fiber-free and covers the mouth, hair, and overall body would be helpful in avoiding crime scene contamination, since hair, saliva, skin cells, and other bodily fluid or cells may be added to the scene, thus contaminating it. Maybe that's why, balaclava and a full suit. Fibers can be left via the theory of exchange and would contaminate the crime scene from its initial state as the offender left it. Even if we can assume that there was an offender despite seeming obvious... Even if we can't assume that there was an offender despite seeming obvious, preventing contamination is an important way to ensure the integrity of the investigation and evidence. We should always treat the crime scene as if there is indeed a criminal homicide, as to not miss out on important details, that is, how this crime scene is being handled. The first thing for me to do is to take a coordinated series of crime scene photographs with a digital photography device or a 35mm camera from a natural point of view. These photos must be taken prior to the movements of any object in the crime scene to ensure that the photo captures the scene as the offender left it. What I would do is I would actually do like the Faro scans first. I wouldn't have anybody enter. I would have, the first officers come in, get out of here. Then you have techs come in and do Faro scans of the entire house wearing the white the suits, the Tyvek suits, walking around, and photograph everything as it is from the get-go, and then allow people to come in and then again take photographs of everything. And then you'll sort of like double up on it. Plus, you'll be able to go back and revisit the crime scene anytime you want. You can just put on like even VR goggles and be standing right in the crime scene and look around, etc. All right, we're still at what are we at? About 75%. Made a good move there, you guys, but still got a ways to go. Definitely lost sleep thinking about the sheath he left behind. Well, I think he lost sleep over it once they determined there was DNA on the knife sheath, because I think it's very possible he left the knife sheath there intentionally as a calling card. Coburger the K-bar killer, he wanted to be called, maybe in the future. I think it's he's studied serial killers. What do serial killers often leave? A calling card. Maybe his signature was just the ferocity of using a K-bar knife, and maybe when they say he was trying to buy another one and to replace the one he bought, well, is that necessarily true, or was he buying another one to commit another homicide, and he was going to leave that knife sheath there too and then dispose of the knife like he did the first time, because obviously the knife hasn't been found, I don't think. Who are you talking about? I think he would have implicated himself in helping, like, I was around the area that night, but could not but couldn't come forth after leaving DNA on the sheath as he would have. Nah, I don't think so. They didn't even know about that DNA on the sheath for a long time, for a month. He drove by there the next day just to sort of look at his handiwork. I think they may have arrested him by now, but the DNA on the knife sheath, with Coburger's DNA on the knife sheath, places him inside the house right when a white Elantra missing its front license plate is parked outside of the residence. And those two facts alone are just absolutely devastating to Coburger. He has no out for that. They can try to explain it away, but he even admits that he was driving around, and it's just, but the thing is that they had these white Elantras by those couple officers already had seen his white Elantra, and maybe at a time they would have looked into every different person. And then when they got to Coburger, let's just say the natural progression without the knife sheath would have been that they would review all of the white Elantras that were in the area, and they would have found those two officers at WSU. Eventually, they would have stumbled upon those again, and then they would have came forward and they would have said, "Oh, let's look into this guy. Wow, he's a criminology student. That's interesting. Let's look at, oh my God, look at, he was driving around that night and he turned his phone off at 2:53 as he's driving around." And then they would still be able to say, and guess what? He drives a white Elantra, and that's exactly the suspect vehicle we've seen on these surveillance footage driving around. And we were able to see on this one camera, it doesn't even have a front license plate. And now we find these other times he was pulled over, and look, there's no front license plate on Coburger's white Elantra. And then you would just kind of keep going through. You'd still find the Amazon, the purchase of the K-bar. You'd have an incredible circumstantial case. All right. Anyways, regardless. Yeah, see, that's why I make a lot of videos on the Elantra, mainly because I've realized since that footage came out, that on Linda Lane about a year and a half ago, I've realized that sighting is a huge portion of this case, absolutely crucial, the white Elantra. Hey, thanks, Walker. All right, you guys need another push here to try to get to the goal. So if you're able to help support the channel, that would be awesome. Yeah, you gave us honor, yeah. That's not relevant to what we're talking about right here, though. Let's see. Yeah, and then when they do the investigation, they would have shown that also he'd driven in the area multiple times. I think they have Coburger without the DNA on the knife sheath, but that really just kind of hammers it home, especially since he bought. I guess the thing about buying the K-bar knife sheath on Amazon wouldn't even mean anything if he didn't leave that knife sheath there, right? So that investigation would have been, well, we know he used a large knife. Look, he bought that. And, I think Dylan Mortensen helps quite a bit too, because she saw a man with bushy eyebrows wearing the balaclava, and now they have information that he bought the balaclava. So now it's even more important what Dylan Mortensen said. She wasn't incredibly important, but now it is more important because her description was that the person was wearing a balaclava and had bushy eyebrows. Well, Brian Coburger has bushy eyebrows, and he had purchased a balaclava in January of 2022. It never looked like anything but a white Elantra. Yeah, for some reason, people sent in $10 super chats, but they came in at $9.99, so they didn't pop up on there. Anyways. Ah, Jesus. Here we go. These photos must be taken. Now we're down here. The photos should be in color as to provide the best, most accurate image, thus avoiding photographic distortion. The following details regarding photography should be recorded in the field notes and on the back of the photos if possible. Recording these details will ensure the defense attorney does not attempt to devalue the quality of your evidence, which may make it inadmissible. Data to identify the subject of the photograph, but without too much unnecessary information. The location of the photograph, including the state, city, and street address. The identity, the identifying data of the photographer, including the name, police agency badge number, and identification number. The case number is established at the time of dispatch, the precise time of the photograph, the date the photograph was taken, the weather at the time, the photographic equipment used, including shutter speeds. That's usually in the metadata. God, how long does this go? Jesus. I don't know if I want to read all that. That's a lot. That's just like another 7 pages of that dense garbage. Why can't we question Dylan Mortensen? You can do whatever you want, just not here, Eve. I don't care. Okay? Why can't we question Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk not calling 911? Hey, Eve, let me ask you this simple question. Do you think Bethany Funk and Dylan Mortensen had knowledge of and are part of the killing of those 4 people? Can you answer that question for me? Do you think Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are responsible? Go ahead. We're just going to wait for your answer. The whole show is waiting on you. Yeah, go ahead. Come on, Eve. We're all waiting for you. I'm sure it's really just incredible information. You know? Go ahead. Do you think that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are part of the crime? That they somehow are involved? Yeah, right. They're always quiet after that. Well, the thing is, if the answer is no, okay, then why do you care? And why do you need an answer as to why they didn't call 911 sooner? Everybody's different, okay? Everybody's different out there, all right? I'm sure you are amazing, though. It doesn't matter why, Eve. It doesn't matter what. No, give me the answer to the question I asked. Do you think that they're involved? Because other than that, you're wasting your time. They were freaked out. But they didn't know exactly what happened. They saw a guy. They didn't see anybody dead or anything like that. And then somehow, there was somebody maybe was passed out because they weren't responding, and they didn't want to verify their fear. So eventually, they had people come over, and they called 911. But if you think that they are involved, it's a legitimate question. Other than that, we don't need to know the answer to it, right? I mean, just think through it logically. You got a crime here. Somebody didn't do something the way you wanted to, but you don't think they're involved. So why do you need to know the answer to that question? I'm just curious. And I saw your answer. It still didn't make any sense. All right. Cops will check things out at 4:30 a.m. I don't know what that means. Hey, thanks, Mallory Beavers. Okay, now we're up to, I think we actually have 4 up there, so we need 11 more. Wouldn't there be a serial number on the sheath and knife? I don't know if they have serial numbers on the knife sheath. The knife might have something like that, for sure. I don't know if a sheath would. It seems more of a, like you could buy another sheath A knife might be kind of like a gun or something that has a serial number on it. Yeah. That's, I gotta tell you, I've never spent much time at all thinking about, wow, that they didn't call 911. To me, it's sort of obvious. I can picture exactly how they were. Couldn't you tell in the 911 calls that they were sort of freaked out? They saw somebody, but they didn't, and some sounds, and Dylan ran down, at some point went running down to Bethany Funk's room, and they just kind of went through the night together in that room. And then people say, oh my God, she was on Indeed. Well, how do you know Indeed just didn't pop up as an ad and it clicked on it? We don't know what that means. I doubt she was job hunting at 5 in the morning or whatever the hell time that was. Anyways, I just wish, that's the thing, it's amazing how much time people get stuck on something that is absolutely meaningless. If you don't, I don't think most people believe that Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk, after hearing the 911 call and reading the text messages, think that they had anything to do with it. Most sane people, right? So after that's known to you, then why do you care why it took them longer than you would have to call 911? Because it has no bearing on the case at that point. And nobody would have survived those wounds either. There's, so, and none of the family members blame them. None of them. So why don't you, take a page out of their book? I wonder if I can just copy this whole passage here. Oh wait, that's not even text. Alright, hold on. Menu. All tools. Scan. In this file. Recognize text. Okay, it's going to go zip through these and turn everything into searchable text. I don't know why it wasn't already. Well, it had to have been because I found Balaclava. I guess that one document wasn't. Yeah, but who cares, Eve? Yeah, sure she heard something. Yeah. Yeah, you don't need to piece that part together, though, because it doesn't have any bearing on the case, is what I'm trying to get to. Let me piece together the 911 call. It doesn't have anything to do. After Bethany goes downstairs, they're just communicating back and forth. The only portion that I found valuable, other than just understanding the fear that they had, was that at 4:19 is when Dylan called Bethany. And it was Dylan, not Bethany. So Dylan called Bethany at 4:19 and some odd seconds, which means Coburger had already left the house probably a minute or so, at least before that, to make Dylan feel comfortable enough to be able to get on her phone and call, and then he drives away at a high rate of speed at 4:20 and 47 seconds. So what that told me is there was a lot of time after Coburger left the house to when it drove away, and that's when he probably did the blood spatter mitigation by taking his clothes off, putting them into plastic bags, etc. Doesn't that make sense? Eve, do you think Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk are part of the crime? No, I don't think you're right. I don't think you're correct. If you are, then I got it wrong. But my memory was that it was Dylan Mortensen, and I don't know how to find that file really quick. Hey, thanks up there to RDWWDR. What was the name of the document? Maybe I do have it. Yeah, jeez. could be in one of these, I guess. I forgot what the name of the document was. Motion suppress. If I can see the names, let's see. One was called Alibi. Let's see. Text message. There it is. The text messages. No, that was the video that I made on it. Gonzalez, Madison Mogan. Make and model. Witness. Bushy eyebrows. Was it in that one? No. Okay, this might be it. The text message testimony, right? And then I think there's a portion about a phone call made. Okay, yeah, you got it right. 4:19:07, Bethany calls Dylan Mortensen. But you know that at 4:19 he's already left the house, right? It's right there. So it was Bethany Funk. So, yeah, at least I was able to find the document relatively quickly. So Bethany Funk calls Dylan Mortensen at 4:19. So Dylan Mortensen likely, you know, maybe wouldn't that be interesting if that's the time she saw the person? Because remember, there's a, I don't know. You know what's weird is if she had seen somebody undressing out there, don't you think that don't you think that that would have been in the text messages? That she would have said, "Oh my God, I saw this guy. He was naked and he was getting dressed out there," because that would have been in that texting exchange, because that would have happened before this, right? And it was like, let's see, he was driving away at a high rate of speed. And at 4:20 and 28 seconds, Dylan Mortensen calls Bethany Funk for 41 seconds. And then during that phone call, that's when he's driving away. It's literally 20 seconds into that phone call. He's driving away. Then Bethany Funk calls Xanaker Nodal, no answer. Dylan Mortensen calls Madison Mogan. Bethany Funk calls Madison Mogan. Bethany Funk calls Ethan Chapin, 4:22:08. Dylan Mortensen to Bethany Funk, no one is answering. I mean, wouldn't she have said it in here? You know? Bethany says, Anna was wearing all black. Wouldn't she say, oh my God, I just saw a naked guy getting dressed out? You know, wouldn't you say that? So I don't know if that's a true rumor that we've heard. I mean, it would be amazing if it was real, but it seems like it would be somewhere in this texting exchange. Somewhere. You know, at least right up into here. You know, maybe she told Dylan that after they got into, when Dylan finally made it to the room. But I don't know. That was a miracle that I found that file that fast. That was freaking crazy. Could have taken a month. There's so many documents now. Have you guys seen how they do this thing? I mean, look at the way they put these suckers out. Look at. Yeah, so they're like that right there. They had these ones out that were new the other day, like these few in here, and then they just went boom and put out all these. Look at that, crazy. All right, we're 3 of 15, or actually we've got 5, so I need 10 more of those. We'll be good. I think it's a rumor generated by Reddit that got, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. That's kind of Reddit's gig. That's what they do. Yeah, okay. I'm going to keep digging around on this file. So what are some other terms you guys want to look up in here? Because this does talk about how they're verifying. That's kind of what this whole segment is how they have proof and are verifying each element. Right? Linda Lane surveillance footage. This footage is maintained by a property management company, and they go through the whole thing. The state may rely on video footage from around 3:29 a.m. Yeah, so that's 1320. By the way, the property manager's that whack nut job who jumped out of his apartment and tried to grab my phone. And he's the one that's released all the footage out there. This footage is maintained and removed from 4:30 or 3:30 till 4:04. All, the important video, which would have shown it driving back at about 4 o'clock. They got rid of that one. It didn't drive by other than that, though. Other than that, it only went by one more time. Right. There's a lot of things you would think this and you would think that, but it didn't happen, so it just didn't happen. There's no video of why the dog didn't step on anything. So it's just one of the things you have to accept sometimes. Maybe the dog was in the room and was out on the deck and the door was shut, and one of the roommates went up and looked in there and opened the door, and there's Murphy. We don't really know. We'd have to see what it originally looked like. That will have to probably be in court where you talk to the friends who came over first. So this thing has the Linda Lane 1320 and 1330. This one says the relevant footage is taken on November 13th, approximately 0.3 miles from 1122 King Road. That's actually a hell of a lot closer than that. That's not 0.3 miles. See, that's just them not being accurate. This is the 1330s right there, and that's right here, and that distance is 0.1, and that's really all you got to know about. It's just the distance of it. Now, if you're driving, obviously if you're right here and you drive over here like this, and a lot of times that's how they measure shit. You come around and then you're right there, and that is 0.26. So, maybe that's what they're doing, but as a crow flies, it's really close. So you got they want the 1330, showing the suspect vehicle traveling around the area, the Albertson video in Clarkston, surveillance and business records for November 13th. This footage is maintained by Albertson's grocery store in Clarkston. Hey, thanks, Wise Child. Oh yeah, it did work, and it's up there. Awesome. Okay, we need 9 more. Thank you. Amazon financial and user records for Brian Coburger. Regarding purchase history, the state is attaching a certificate of authenticity dated 12/30/2022. Pursuant, that's kind of interesting, to IRE. That's right around when he was arrested. From Amazon, I guess that's the date of the warrant. From Amazon, State Exhibit S1. This certificate was included with an Excel data file that details Brian Coburger's subscription information and order history from January 5th, 2022 to December 13th, 2022. At trial, the state intends to offer their certificate with the attached records as an exhibit. The defendant was provided this information on May 18th, 2023. Regarding click history, the state is attaching a certificate of authenticity pursuant to IRE 803 from Amazon, State Exhibit S2. This references DS, which is some, crime, something, which is related to the Excel data file by the same name that details subscription information, click activity, and sign-in history of the defendant as directed in the underlying search warrant. At trial, the state intends to offer the certificate with the attached records as an exhibit. Defendant was provided this information on July 12th, 2023. The state incorporates state responses to defendant motion in limine, excluding Amazon click activity evidence at trial, filed March 17, 2025, to this reply. Now they said S1, right? What page are we on now? Page 2. There's S1 there, and there should be another one at the end. All right. I am an employee of Amazon. I make this declaration based on the personal first-hand knowledge, and if called and sworn as a witness, I could and would testify as set forth below. Amazon produced documents responsive to this above referenced law enforcement request. All documents provided by Amazon are authentic, are what they purport to be, and accurately describe the transactions, communications, and events set forth therein. All documents produced by Amazon are business records in that they are records kept in the ordinary course of business, created at or near the time of the transaction or events reflecting therein, or based on information from a person with knowledge of the transaction or events. I declare under penalty of perjury, under the laws of the United States of America, that the foregoing is true and correct.
Correct.
Correct. All right, tell you what, you guys, if you guys, instead of that, completing the goal up there, if we get 9 new channel members, then I'll donate 5 myself. All right, so that's up to you guys. Those are only, they're $5 per channel members, and if we get 9 more of those, I'll also buy. Those are the gifted channel memberships. We'll count that as one right there. That's let's see, name and badge number. It's difficult to make sense of the senseless. We can't wrap our heads around the chaos that someone else creates. Hopefully justice will prevail. Hey, by the way, I'm going to, just for the hell of it, I'm going to tell my, when I was a kid, camping thing again. And I just feel like it's absolutely related to Dylan Mortensen and Bethany Funk. I mean, they weren't as young as I was, but, you know, people, you know, you're 20 years old. You're not really, you know, they probably had a sheltered life, kind of, and they go to college, and then there's probably the worst thing imaginable happen. I mean, it's just, how do you respond to that? You could hear the horror in their voices, right? But like when I was a kid, I was at a basketball camp. I don't even know if it was it was just a day camp. And the other story is a basketball camp, but it was a day camp. But we had an overnight, which doesn't really make sense, but we had an overnight thing up at a lake called Timothy Lake. And I was like, I think 12 or 13. And man, they were telling all these Bigfoot stories around the campfire all night. And they were just, oh, you know, you're just all freaked out. And then I went to sleep. And then I remember in the middle of the night, I woke up and I heard this. And man, I just sat, I was so scared. I go, oh my God, that's Bigfoot. And I didn't want to open my eyes to verify that it was Bigfoot. I just kept thinking, it's Bigfoot, it's Bigfoot, it's Bigfoot. And I stayed absolutely still for hours and hours until there was a little bit of light coming up, and I still wouldn't open my eyes because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see it. And then there was like still the, and then it turns out like it was somebody snoring and it was nothing, you know, but I was freaked out, you know, because they would just told these stories. And I think it's sort of similar. People, if you can avoid seeing the truth, the horror, you'll do it. Some people don't want to see it. Like if you think something bad has happened, the moment you see it, it's real. But if you can hold on to just talking about it and wondering, etc., and they just didn't want to believe it, because as soon as you call 911, now you're admitting there's a problem. It's the same thing as in a missing person case. A parent will often wait and wait and wait through the evening, and then finally they make that call, and that's when it all sinks in, and you're trying to avoid that feeling for a long time. And I think that's just the way it is. Hey, thanks up there to allegedly Lisa, MM24, and name and badge number, who said it's difficult to make sense of the senseless. We just read that one. MM24 said, to help with the goal, Gray has the best analysis we can find. And allegedly Lisa, thank you. And there's Bleak Pod. And so that's my own story that I could tell that is sort of similar feeling. You just sort of curl up and you're just like, oh God, I got. You know, I don't know how I would act now as an adult, but I'm a hell of a lot older than Dill Mortensen and Bethany Funk now. Right. And everybody goes after the fact that, you know, I think it's Xana Kernodle and is it Dylan Mortensen's parents or Madison? I don't even know which parents are that apparently have drug problems. And so apparently then it's a cartel. I mean, isn't that just stupid? You know, like, it's just the dumbest thing I've ever heard. It doesn't even make sense. Yeah. Well, there you go, Eve. There it is. So I think that's kind of, and I'm sure others, if you want, after the show, why don't you type in the comment section something that happened to you that you might compare where you just were frozen or, you know, acted in a way that now you think, man, I wish I had done this or that. We don't have 1,616 people watching here. We probably did have 662, but this number now, that's not real. I can always tell. Hey, but can you guys hit that like button? I mean, don't you think it's ridiculous to only have 381 likes? So here we go. Let's hit that like button right now. 10, 20, 15, 20, hit that like button. 40, 45, 50, hit that like button. 60, 65, 70, hit that like button. 80, use your nose, use your toes, whatever blows. Hit your like button. Hit the like button. Just don't hit it twice, for God's sake. All right, thank you. Hey, thanks, Joel Burnt. Go, Gray, go. Like when he used the auctioneer bit. I should do that with super chats. Let's try it again. And hit send in that super chat. 10, 20, 25, 30. Hit that chat button. 10, 5, 15, 20. Just kidding. It never works. I remember one time I did something that was funny. A lot years ago, it was just sort of funny, but I said, everybody type in a 1 if you think this. And there was like 100 ones. And I go, okay, now everybody send in super chats. And it was funny because, like, I think 10 or something people sent in super chats. It was pretty funny. They all knew it was just goofing around. But. Hey, look at CR just gifted a membership to Erica Arpin. Yeah. All right, what was the other one? It was AS2, right? Let's see if we can find that one. Is this? Okay. 1, 2. Is it this one? I don't know. It's this. These are all the proof letters down here. AT&T. Certificate. That's his car. Man, this guy's nailed. Jesus. You know. All right, what are some words to try to look up in this long one here? I want to know the... Let's see. I know another document has some information about Uber, but don't you really want to have the answer of what time the DoorDash was? That's what I want. But Gray, the roommates. You guys, listen. Coburger is the killer. It's so freaking obvious. I don't understand. It's like this obsession to try to ignore facts to keep something alive. It's called tunnel vision. Hey, thanks. Let it be 77. Going once, going twice. Sold. That's right. You raised your hand, and there it was. Thank you, GSUPM. Yeah, it was only a few minutes before 4. Right, what was? We don't know what time the DoorDash delivery was. We know that he drove by there at 3:58 around, and then he went out and took a right, I think. I'm going to work through the animation on the second portion. I've already got that. Where did it say at 4:01 that he did the DoorDash? I don't see that. I haven't seen the timing of DoorDash in any document. Have you? Hey, well, let's see. What's that right there? The word dash is in there. Oh, let's see. DoorDash records for Xander Kernodle. These documents are maintained. Oh, there it is right there. Wait, hold on. The state may rely on the attached record, States Exhibit S9 from DoorDash regarding delivery to 1122 King Road, November 13th at 3:59. Yo, bam! We've got the time in the document. That's what we've been looking for, everybody. Can I get a boom? There it is, everybody. That's something I've been looking for the whole time. All right. There it is. There it is. Well, it is in this document. It's right there. I just found it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. These documents are maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the documents pursuant to IRE 803. The state may rely on the attached record, States Exhibit S9, from DoorDash regarding a delivery to 1122 King Road on November 13, 2022 at 3:59 a.m. Ha ha! You! The particular evidence provides a timeline of events for Xander Kernodle before the homicides and corroborates state witness testimony. This was provided to defendant May 26, 2023. All right. Yes. Oh, man. Okay, so now we got to go back and look at something else. Where was that? Coburger. Yeah, so I'll be able to do a little mention of that in the... Okay, this is the Elantra movement here. Look at this. So, at a vehicle matching the description of vehicle number 1. Remember I mentioned at 4:01 when it was driving, that might have been because of the DoorDash. The DoorDash. A vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 travels west on Queen Road and turns north onto King Road. Okay, so let me get the map out. Let's just go over what this is doing. So now we know that DoorDash is happening, and now we can make reasonable assumptions here. So watch this. At 3:58:23, a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 travels west. This will be in my next portion of the animation, by the way. West on Queen Road, which is right here, and turns north. Let's start back here. Headlights briefly shine on the upper exterior of 1127 King Road. I'm actually going to go back further. Okay, so at 3:56:57, the vehicle travels around right back here. Okay, and then it drives around, and then when the vehicle gets about right there, at 3:57:27, the lights shine on this house. Now, if you watched my video earlier today, you'll be able to see how the lights go through there, because my vehicle, when I drove there, I recorded it, and you can see how the lights shine from here onto the house over here. And so headlights briefly shine on the upper exterior of 1127 King Road, indicating a vehicle turning north towards Queen Road. The headlights disappear approximately 5 seconds later. So then, again, the vehicle comes around, and headlights over here, and then it stops right here. So at 3:57:27, the vehicle literally stops and then takes off at 3:58:23. Oh, man, this is crazy. This is exactly what I was thinking the other day when I was talking on the show. This is hilarious. Look at this. So then it's driving away, and it's going like this, and that's about 3:58:23. And then at 3:59:04, the vehicle's up here, right back here, right behind 1119. Just pay attention to this. It's really interesting. If you don't just want to keep chatting, you'll actually know something that's important. So at 3:59:04, it's right here, driving behind 1119 King Road. And I think right at that point, he saw that a vehicle was coming in. And then right after that, he does a freaking U-turn, because he's like, God, this sucks. So he, this is crazy. He's driving like this. He's driving south, and then a minute later, he's coming back again. So that means he saw that vehicle. He came down over here. He turns around somewhere, drives back this direction, and then his lights are seen going this direction at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds. You know what's amazing, you guys? The DoorDash driver is responsible for getting an image of Coburger's front license plate. That's when he changed what he was doing. He turned around, and then at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds, he's driving around like this. And now he's not going in here because he doesn't want the DoorDash driver to see him, because the DoorDash driver is still sitting here at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds. And then at 4:01 and 30 seconds, a vehicle matching the description of vehicle 1 is seen south on Lauder Avenue. So that means from right here at 4 o'clock, it took off and blew by this intersection. It was always kind of weird. And he didn't go in there because that's the DoorDash guy is probably still sitting there. Then he went flying down over here like this, took this turn, and at 4:01 and 30 seconds, he's right here south on Lauder Avenue. And then at 4:01 and 43 seconds, it turns from eastbound right here and then goes south, and that's right when that camera took the shot of the vehicle front license plate, and that's why he went that direction, right? Then at 4:04, headlights are seen traveling north on Walenta Drive again. Okay, so from there he travels all the way around like this, and probably letting time go by for the DoorDash driver, so maybe even stopped somewhere just quickly, and then eventually comes back, and then at 4:04 he's right here again behind 4:04 and 20 seconds, he's right here driving this direction. And then at 4:04:56 it comes around the corner and starts heading this direction, 4:04:56. And then at 4:05:31 the vehicle is, now he drove by, and he probably was looking, saw some lights on still from the DoorDash, like Xanax or Noodles picking up the, and then he goes back here at 4:05:56, or 4:05:31 back here. Sorry, it was 4:04:56 is when he was traveling into the area right here, and then at 4:05:31 he goes back around like this. However, this time he does a 3-point turn. He drives in, backs up, and he wants to get another look to verify. Then he comes over here and he stops. And he looks and sees what's going on over here, because that DoorDash guy was just there. And then at 4:06:09, headlights are seen. The vehicle's driving slowly right here, and you can see headlights right over here. And then at 4:06:31, The vehicle then travels back again this direction after doing a U-turn. So at 40631, travels west and does a U-turn. So it travels this way, does a U-turn, and then goes back this direction. Then goes back around at 40728, it's right there. Then comes around, and then at 407 and 47 seconds, as the car's driving, the lights hit that house again, indicating that it's turning, and then it stopped and parked. And that was, probably 408. And then at 420 and 47 seconds, the vehicle leaves at a high rate of speed, but it's in between 407 or 408 and 420 and 47 seconds where all of the victims were killed, and the knife sheath was left on the bed during that time. Wee-hoo. Man, that was cool. That was some good stuff right there. Hey, thanks, Jack SD, and Kelly, and GSUPN, and going once, twice, everything. Isn't that amazing, you guys? I mean, having that time is what I've always wanted. I know it's probably been out there, but we finally have it. Like an actual, right there, verified piece of information. I'm gonna save that. I don't want to lose it. Those are my taxes. Come on, how do I save that? I want to. Shit. There we go. Working on. Let's see. Taxes are painful. Coburger. Images. There we go. Save it right there. That way I always have it. Yes. Okay. And hey, we got another coffee from someone, it says. So if anybody else wants to get some of those coffees, that'd be good. They don't take as much out as YouTube does. That tells me, sure, that wore a protective cover and booties over his shoes. Yeah, that whole segment up there. I want to try to copy it out, but man, I'm just like stunned right here. This is amazing. We actually 359. I always wondered. Well, they say around 4, so 359 is. I mean, it's interesting, right? So, that means Kaylee or Xana Kernodle had gotten the DoorDash, and that's sort of around the time. I'd like to have a better description of when you hear. It sounded like somebody was playing with the dog. Does that mean the dog? You could just hear the collar of the dog sort of bouncing around, or was it literally footsteps and people, moving around? I don't know. What do you mean correct? I know it is. That's why I said it. I think he didn't care if they were awake or not. I think he felt empowered. Yeah, I think he just went in there to. I think his intention was to kill Madison Mogen. I think he was waiting for the lights to turn off because he wanted it to be quiet in there and give people time to sleep. And he was going to go into Madison Mogen's room and he was going to kill her. And I think he was going to possibly leave, just as for example, the K-bar knife sheath as a calling card. However, when he got into Madison's room, Kaylee was in there, and then he was sort of like, oh, whoa, what's going on? And then he ended up killing 2 people, and then he still left the knife sheath there. But on the way down, that's the most likely theory, is Madison and Kaylee first. I still have, holdout thoughts that it was Xana and Ethan that were first, but he goes downstairs and then he attacks Ethan and Xana, but then I don't really understand if he left the knife sheath there accidentally, then that's why he would go back upstairs, look for it, and then come back down really quick after not finding it, and then he saw that Xana was still alive and said, oh, it's okay, I'm here to help you, and then he kills her, then there's a thud, and then Murphy's barking, and then he's leaving. passing Dylan on the way out. But I also think that Xana and Ethan weren't targets either. Like, they just happened to be awake when they shouldn't have been. Right? Like, he went in there, and I don't think he saw Dylan, or at that point he's like, I can't waste more time here. Dylan thinks he saw her because she saw his bushy eyebrow, which means absolutely nothing. Yeah, we've got like a fake viewer numbers currently going on. We could have about 700, but not. There's no way there's 1,800 people watching. You can always tell when it looks like Bart Simpson's haircut. It's another one I'll have to show to YouTube again. There we go. I'm going to buy some memberships, and if you guys want to buy some more memberships for other people that aren't members, that'd be awesome. Be cool to have a good night of memberships. We've only got about, I think, 13 of them, but be great to get some more. Let's see, we've got Tree T Lee Yuda ARW 357 CINQ. I wonder if there's anything that's just sort of hidden in here. Floyd's Cannabis Shop. This footage is maintained by a business. Okay, I want to put this in here. I think this might be, if they're putting that in there, that means they think that Elantra. I mean, look at all the crap I've got on here. Thank you, Sammy Day. Very nice. Oh, so there's one in Pullman. It's more over here. Okay, there it is. All right, now this one says, so I already have that on there, but it said, this footage is maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the video footage pursuant to IRE 803. The state may rely on the video footage from November 13th, 2022 at around 3:02 a.m. Wow. So that's crazy, because I thought he took this wild back road, but maybe he didn't. I'm going to rename that, put a time on it. 3:02 a.m. It's nice to be able to kind of keep piecing little pieces together. No, I think it's in August, the trial. All right, so if he was there, then how did he do that? So if he was over here and he turned his phone off at 2:53 and he was going the other direction, I mean, I guess he could have went like, I mean, he could turn around however he wanted to. And that's really not a long drive at all. It's only about a 10-minute drive from, like, let's see, if you're right there and just kind of generally, it's only 5.5 miles. So, he could have just went a different direction and boom, got on there and came back, and they think he was here at 3:02. And then where did he go after that? It would be interesting if this clock that was at this Exxon gas station was off, and that is his vehicle, and it's coming here first, and then maybe it drives down like this, and then gets onto Indian Hills Drive. It gets to come down like this, and Indian Hills Drive, and then starts its long journey into the looping area. That's interesting. Yeah, it's takes away this whole route, that a back door route coming in, which I've thought you know, many times maybe he came in like that, but if you got him at 302 here at Floyd's Cannabis, then that's interesting. The grub truck video is to me isn't really important other than timeline related. Yep. Let's see. By the way, put a 1 in here if you have not seen the video that I put out today regarding the first 2 passes. I'm working on 3 and 4 that'll finalize the whole thing. But put a 1 if you haven't seen it. And then if you haven't seen it, after this show's over, make sure to go out and watch the damn thing and share it, okay? Because it was actually pretty good, and it took me over 10 hours to make it. You know, I don't just stare at a screen with a British accent and sound like I know what the hell I'm talking about. I literally take the time to, you know, make videos. More work and time on this case than any of the other influencers. I don't know if I'm an influencer, but well, thank you. You know, I do try to. I really want people in cases to see the reality quicker. Well, you know, the guy from the UK that just puts out absolute garbage on a daily basis. I mean, just absolute embarrassment. He should be ashamed ever to put his face out in public over there. But yeah, I guess it's because he lives over there. Him being from the UK doesn't make him bad. It's just that's the only way I'm going to reference the idiot that makes those videos. Yeah, at least 10 hours. I think it's pretty good. I mean, you know, what we could do is just play the quick version, but you should go out and watch the whole thing. Yeah, it won't be as good as the full-length one, but check it out. Watch this. You can just watch it right here. This is the shortened version. I don't have the lights. The other version has a little white flash every time there's a camera being deployed. This is just showing the route. And it's sped up 300%. Okay. Like there's a clock right there. Here it comes. Hey, cool, Von Dazen. And there's the white Elantra driving on Steiner Avenue. All alone, Brian Coburger with the sole focus of killing 4 college students. Drives past A&W and the Ridge Road address. Then makes his way to Taylor Avenue, starting the first of his 4 final passes. Comes into the area, passing 1119, 1112, going back behind 500 Queen Road after slowing down in front of the house. Based on the timing, that's exactly what happened. Then he comes around. Right now the lights flash on 1127 King Road. Then he parks there for over a minute, waiting, watching, staring into Madison Mogan's bedroom. Oh wait, you can't see anything? I don't know, hold on. What are you saying look it for? What am I looking at? Looking at. You said look at. Jesus. Now he's driving away at not a high rate of speed, but... And right now his vehicle is seen in trees behind 1119 King Road. But I believe he slowed down right in this area to look at the residence, based on the timing yet again. And then another camera, 451 Paradise. Ridge Road in Paradise. He takes a right. I think he may have stopped. There's missing time again. He could have also headed south where there doesn't appear to be cameras and then came back up later. I just have him paused here to make up the difference. So there's like a good minute or so of missing time. Come on, you guys. This is definitely super chat worthy, don't you think? During the show, when this played live, it raised $1. That's how much was thought of it. And look at it, slows down again, drives back behind 500 Queen Road, turns, and then stops again, but for less time this time. Right? Well, there you go. And so after, now I'm going to add in, after it takes off again, it's going to be really interesting because all the crap that it's doing, it's wild. Yeah, it just keeps stacking up that evidence. Let's see, I read defense is claiming he's too incompetent to be on trial now. Good for them. How many memberships do we have? See, 18. We need 2 more to get a solid number. Hamburger Eyes, I haven't seen that one. You'll have to add in a DoorDash card to part 2. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just going to have refer to. I could refer to it, but I could do that. Yeah. I mean, it's just a lot of work to put another vehicle in there. And I would imagine it came in from the east, right, on Taylor. I doubt it came back from behind. That would be kind of weird. I guess we could do something like that, like just have a DoorDash driver. Yeah, maybe I might try to do that. I thought of it, but then I thought, man, that's a lot of extra work. Hey, thanks, Sassy, what is it? How do you say that? Sassit and Fick. If you say that wrong, man, you're in trouble. Hey, thanks, Random Bogey. I'll up that. Hey, 1 to 5. There you go. Yeah, it was kind of wild. It was 99 cents on that. It was a premiere where it's just like a live stream. There was 400 people watching, and no, just Sassy. Oh, well, thank you. How old is Coburger? I guess he's like 25 or 6, maybe 27, 28 now with the. I guess we could check on that driver's license we were just looking at. When his birthday comes, I'm gonna have to write him a note, though. He's gone through a lot. I feel bad for the guy. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's actually people that think that. So is his birthday July 1st, 2022? or not. I mean, July 1st is what I meant to say. Doesn't say the year for some reason. They thought that we couldn't see that. No, okay, 94. So he's 30 right now. Then okay. Look how these idiots that wrote letters to this guy, you know. We're here for you, Coburger. I know that you bought a balaclava and a K-bar knife sheath, but it could have just been, you know, other people own those too. And he responded, "Good point. You have nice birthing hips." Hey, thanks, cool kitty. I don't know if it. I think it does kind of indicate that. That's what I wrote in a community post. To me, the fact that he purchased the balaclava, he was buying things over time, way before the homicides, to make it harder to find by police or investigators. And I think he started planning the homicide, the killings, or at least knew what he was going to do, but maybe hadn't picked his victims quite yet. But maybe he had already. Because he didn't go there till like June, right? Something like that. Some long time, but yeah, that made me cry. I remember the redhead, he said that too. Yeah, right. He said, "You have incredible birthing." Just think how shitty of a sentence that is. Yeah, it just got too boring reading it over and over. We got through about like 10 of the paragraphs. It just got to the point where it was, you know, too much. It was like this massive, it went on for like 20 pages. It just kept going and going and going. Yeah, I mean, I think we got to about page 5 or so, and oh yeah, that's right. I did a OCR on it because I was going to grab it and bring it into that Chat GPT. Maybe it'll give us a good summary. Can I do something with that? Yeah. I thought I just did a OCR on this. Something's not. I think I got to go back. Let me just close this. It's quiet. I need my Linus music playing in the background. Okay, just looking for that same file again. Yeah, see, this is text already. And so is that. Is there a way to export just certain pages? See, it just did that again. I think it might be the tool that I have in my hand. Okay, now it's not text. Jeez, what the hell? It's crazy. Oh, that's the one. Tell you what, let's just throw this whole document in there and see what it says into ChatGPT. Specifically, Coburger's. Yeah, maybe we can even have it break it down. Let's see. www ChatGPT. Let's see. Summarize PDF file in great detail. I'm gonna throw that one in there. And then maybe we can narrow it down to that specific portion. This is where I did this earlier and it mentioned the Balaclava. And I was like, holy crap. This wasn't his first rodeo. Man, it's hard to know. It is good. It is a good one to use. And I didn't ask you which one to use. Roller skate and skate slam. Yeah. Let's see. Which one would you use?
The document is the state's reply to defendant's objection to motion in limine regarding self-authentication of records under the Idaho Rules of Evidence, IRE, primarily Rules 803.6, 803.8, 803.24, 902.4, and 902.11. This filing is part of the state of Idaho's case against...
Yeah, that's the part we talked about. Like, the stuff that he mentioned about, he seemed to know exactly what to wear so that he didn't leave any stuff at the crime scene. Right? So the thing is the, he knew exactly what to use as a crime scene tech, not to leave anything at the crime scene. That's what we were talking about earlier when we went over it. So it seems like he was absolutely aware of, I mean, that's what you could ask at trial. So bring up an expert and say, now listen, these are some of the passages in a document that this person wrote in his studies as a criminology student. Do you think he'd be aware of how not to leave like evidence at the crime scene? And it would be, yeah, obviously, right? I mean, it's going to be really obvious at that point. Okay, well, good for them. I have this one, and this has other elements too.
Brian Coburger, in the ongoing criminal trial related to the University of Idaho homicides. Purpose of the filing. The state aims to admit numerous records into evidence without live testimony by relying on self-authentication rules, thus streamlining the trial process. The state argues that records are maintained in the ordinary course of business or by public agencies. Accompanying certificates of authenticity comply with legal standards. Admitting them is procedurally sound and does not violate the defendant's rights. Key arguments by the state. The defendant objects to the admission of certain video, financial, and communication records as self-authenticating. The state rebuts by explaining it as either already in possession of proper certifications or actively obtaining them before trial. For records still lacking certification, the state commits to laying proper foundation at trial or withdrawing reliance. Summary of evidence the state seeks to admit. The state categorizes 60-plus records, video, digital, business, and phone data, specifying video surveillance, multiple locations, Linda Lane, Corner Club, Grub Truck, Bagel Shop, Sunset Mart, WSU, Cafe Artista, Floyd's Cannabis, etc. shows a white Hyundai Elantra or individual's movements near the time of the crimes. Retail and online purchase records. Amazon, Dick's Sporting Goods, purchase of Black Balaclava, DoorDash, Costco, Walmart, Target, Winco, etc. used to tie Coburger to suspicious purchases and behaviors. Financial records. PNC Bank, Washington Trust, PSECU, ForestXCrypto.com. Expert Foa Douglas will testify to Coburger's financial activities, phone records, and cell data. @NT Verizon, T-Mobile records for Coburger and victims. Includes search warrants and certifications for location data, calls, and messages. School records. DeSales University records allegedly show Coburger's academic interest in crime scenes, exhibits, and certifications. State lists exhibits S1 through S18 with corresponding certificates. Examples include Amazon, AT&T, and Costco certifications attesting to record authenticity. Records the state no longer intends to use. Examples: Joann Fabrics, Harbor Freight, Petco, Wells Fargo, Elan Financial, Marshalls, Ross, etc. If used, the state agrees to provide proper foundation at trial, legal basis. The state argues its approach is in full compliance with IRE 803.6, Records of Regularly Conducted Activity, IRE 803.8, Public Records, IRE 902.11, Self-Authentication of Domestic Business Records, IRE 803.24, Residual Exception if applicable. The state emphasizes that self-authentication saves time and resources. It still provides the defendant due process and notice. All evidence will meet standards of relevance and reliability before trial admission. Conclusion. The state respectfully requests the court to overrule the defendant's objections and allow self-authenticated records to be admitted, pending proper certification and relevance foundations at trial. Would you like a summarized table of the 60 evidentiary items and their statuses?
That's pretty crazy, right? That gives you all these. Let's see. Can you specifically summarize the segment on crime scene scenario final by Brian C. Coburger for Professor Dave Seep. Wow, look at that. Jeez, that's crazy. Actually found it. Let's see.
The segment titled Crime Scene Scenario Final by Brian C. Coburger for Professor Dave Seep appears to be a fictional academic assignment outlining how to respond to a hypothetical crime scene. Here is a detailed summary of its contents, purpose, and structure of the assignment. Coburger presents a step-by-step procedural guide to managing a crime scene investigation. His tone is analytical, methodical, and...
Wow, this is crazy. Hey, thank you up there to S.J. Waits for gifting a membership to Sharon Ellum. Very cool.
Procedural, indicative of someone with academic training in criminal justice or criminology.
Isn't that interesting? Like, even in this, it's describing, analytical, methodical, procedural, indicative of someone with academic training in criminal justice and criminology.
Crime scene response steps. Initial actions. Ensure the scene is secure and move out any people inside the trailer, e.g. residents or children. Begin preliminary questioning. Are there children? Who was present? Evidence documentation for preliminary report. Coburger outlines what he would document. Offense type, time of day, date, approximate time of offense, victim identity and scene location, method of operation if known, identity of responding officer. He acknowledges that some details won't be known immediately, especially in the absence of the offender, and that forensic lab results would be essential to confirm elements of the case. Establishing time of death. References rigor mortis, sets in approximately 12 hours post-mortem, and putrefaction, approximately 10-20 days. Notes the importance of this data to reconstruct the timeline of the crime. Scene reconstruction. Stresses reconstructing the scene based on position of evidence and comparing it to known positions to form hypotheses. Crime scene toolkit inventory. Coburger lists in detail the equipment a crime scene investigator should carry. Imaging. 35mm or digital camera with ample power supply. Portable lighting for visibility. Measurement. Steel tape up to 25 feet. Rulers and marking devices. Collection tools. Latent fingerprinting gear. Gloves to avoid contamination. Forceps, tweezers, scissors. A small saw, e.g. to remove drywall. Swabs and filter
Sounds
paper.
Like a kill kit.
Containers. Paper envelopes. Liquid containers. Casting materials for footprints. Protection and preservation. Crime scene tape. Full protective clothing, boot covers, eyewear, face masks, hair nets, etc. Evidence handling and chain of custody. He emphasizes strict adherence to evidence protocols. Items removed from an evidence locker must be logged with who and why. Items like a knife, coat hanger, and bloody clothing need proper sealing, tagging, and storage. Electronic devices, phones, computers should be logged and sent for digital forensics.
Great.
All evidence movements should be traceable through inventory receipts. Failure to maintain chain of custody, Coburger states, can lead to inadmissibility even in cases where there's a clear link between suspect and victim. Interagency cooperation and outreach. He lays out a multi-agency coordination strategy. Determine if the victim has children via county records. Alert family. Look for possible protection from abuse PFA orders. Contact and question spouse, partner. Search for missing children. Issue an Amber Alert if necessary. Interview neighbors to identify suspicious persons or activity. Key takeaways. Coburger's writing is detailed and mimics standard law enforcement procedures. He emphasizes forensic integrity, chain of custody, and investigative thoroughness. The tone is clinical and professional, and not emotional or narrative-driven. This document was assigned in an academic setting and does not describe a real crime scene. Let me know if you'd like this section turned into a table or reformatted for presentation.
I'm doing
Brian Coburger's crime scene scenario final is generally written in a structured, methodical format that aligns well with academic criminal justice training. However, there are a few inaccuracies, oversimplifications, or ambiguities in his approach that deviate from best practices in modern forensic science and investigative protocol. Here are the key issues. 1. Over-reliance on rigor mortis and putrefaction for time of death. Claim. He suggests using rigor mortis approximately 12 hours and putrefaction 10-20 days as indicators to estimate time of death. Issue. While these are general indicators, they are highly variable and influenced by many factors. Temperature, humidity, body mass, etc. More reliable methods include body temperature, stomach contents, insect activity, forensic entomology, and livor mortis. Modern best practice. Use multiple methods in tandem to estimate time of death, not just visual decomposition cues. 2. Equipment list is outdated or impractical. Claim. He includes 35mm film cameras in the standard crime scene toolkit. Issue. Crime scene units now almost universally use digital photography for efficiency, clarity, and instant review. 35mm is obsolete in field investigation unless explicitly required for archival reasons. 3. Swabbing and liquid evidence handling is vague. Claim. Mentions using filter paper or small swabs for liquid or trace evidence. Issue. There's no mention of DNA cross-contamination prevention, chain of custody tags, or storage protocols like refrigeration for biological samples. Proper labeling, sealing, and securing of swabs is critical, and omission suggests oversimplification. 4. Assumes early scene actions that are usually reserved for forensics. Claim. He mentions using a small saw to collect drywall or evidence himself. Issue. Typically, only trained forensic specialists would remove materials like drywall, e.g. for blood spatter or bullet trajectory. Patrol officers or detectives don't usually do this unless highly trained or in a rural, understaffed context. Scene integrity is critical. Removing structural evidence risks contamination and misinterpretation. 5. Overemphasis on personal communication records early in investigation. Claim. He outlines immediately checking the victim's cell phone, computer for personal communications, conflict.
Yeah, I would imagine this would be a good way to like grade papers. You know, like you could put it in a paper and go, wow, you made a lot of errors in there. Yeah, it mentions the husband, boyfriend, possibly the partner. This is a cognitive bias risk. What's all this? Summary of inaccuracies, forensic, rigor mortis. Outdated equipment suggests 35mm camera. Yeah, I mean, you're using digital shit now, right? Evidence collection protocol, vague swab, legal oversights, early phone, computer access, Amber Alert. Investigative bias, points to domestic partner early. Huh. I think it's pretty amazing. What a great little tool to be able to use. What do you guys think about that? I thought it was pretty good. Let's see. Let's see. If Coburger is a, has been accused of a crime, could the knowledge in this article, I guess, the knowledge in this, what did we call this? I forgot what I referred to it as. Segment. In this segment, help him hide, hide, help him just get away with the crime. Let's see what it says. I'm kind of interested. There we go. Boom. There you go, everybody.
Abuse history, etc. Issue.
AI
This would usually
solved the
require
case.
a search warrant, and access is not immediate unless the scene presents exigent circumstances. Suggests bypassing legal protocols unintentionally. 6.
I want it to go right here. Let's see.
Could this knowledge help someone get away with a crime? Yes, in some ways it could provide tactical advantages. If someone were to act with criminal intent, the procedural knowledge in Coburger's assignment could help in the following ways. Avoiding evidence contamination. He understands how crime scene investigators collect and preserve trace and biological evidence. This could allow a person to avoid leaving fingerprints, hair, or DNA at a scene. Understanding time of death indicators. His reference to rigor mortis and putrefaction, although simplistic, suggests he knows how investigators try to reconstruct timelines. Someone might try to obscure time of death by altering the body's environment, e.g. temperature, crime scene awareness. Mentions of scene reconstruction and item positioning imply an understanding of how investigators look for inconsistencies. This could help in staging a scene to appear accidental or to frame another person. Chain of custody awareness. His detailed attention to the chain of custody and evidence logging reflects an understanding that mishandled evidence could be inadmissible, potentially allowing someone to exploit a weak procedural moment, but not as much as he might think. There are major limits. 1. Knowledge isn't experience. Writing a paper is not the same as executing a flawless, forensically clean crime. Real-world scenes are chaotic, and even trained professionals make mistakes under stress. 2. He shows gaps in understanding. His paper contains misconceptions, e.g. time of death estimation, warrantless digital access, which might lead to mistakes in covering up a crime. Overconfidence in partial knowledge can be a liability. 3. Digital and forensic evidence is incredibly hard to avoid. Modern forensics includes cell tower triangulation, vehicle telemetry, DNA and touch DNA, behavioral pattern analysis. Academic knowledge doesn't mean someone can outsmart multi-agency surveillance and forensic systems. 4. Psychological factors. Stress, guilt, and cognitive biases often cause people to make critical errors, even when they know the risks. Someone trying to commit a perfect crime might be undone by their own need for control or perceived superiority. So, what's the bottom line? Could this paper help someone plan or cover a crime better than the average person? Yes, marginally. It shows tactical thinking and an understanding of procedural vulnerabilities. Could it help someone completely evade detection in a real-world case like a quadruple homicide? Highly unlikely, especially not against a federal level, high-profile investigation involving digital, biological, and eyewitness evidence. Does the paper itself imply intent or guilt? No, it's an academic exercise. But in the context of real-world accusations, it may be scrutinized for possible psychological or criminological insights.
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
Amber Alert and child
That was pretty awesome, wasn't it? But it's interesting that it knew about the quadruple homicide comment, because I didn't bring that up, nor was it in the in that segment. But maybe it was in the overall larger document that it got that from. I don't know. Or it just knows about the Coburger case. Isn't that crazy, you guys? So that's kind of what we all think just generally, when you read the fact that he is a criminology, basically a doctoral student, and then he wrote that document, so he has knowledge of what not to do at a crime scene, and he knows how to keep the crime scene pretty sterile, wearing certain items, not leaving any of his own material there. So why wouldn't he, when committing the crime, make sure to do that, like wearing a balaclava, for example, and a full body suit of some sort that was black? That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Yeah, I was going to look up a couple of things over here. So I was, let's see, the bagel shop. We figured out where that was, right? Right there. Okay, is that where they worked? No, that's where they walked by that night. Okay, Cafe Artista. This is probably where they said, or is that a different place? Is there a different bagel shop? Where, what did you say to Adam? Okay. I'm employed at the manager of Sunset Mart, a business located at 1455 Southeast Bishop Boulevard. Oh, interesting. Let's see where that is. It's also over in Pullman. God, look at exactly where I have this. That must be where that was then. It's called, what's the name of this? Sunset Mart. Alright, I just want to see if they give us any detail on that one. Hey, thanks, Pam from New York. BK lost his sheath fighting Kaylee. Sure, you might, it could be that, and it could be that he left it there intentionally. Right? It could be anything. But I think if he's studying... If Coburger was studying serial killers, he probably would have wanted to leave a calling card of some sort. But it could just be that it fell off there. We don't know the answer to the question. And he did not drive back at 9 in the morning to go look for the knife sheath. That would be one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. He went there to go check because I think he thought that after he left, somebody was going to be calling 911. And, of course, he wouldn't be able to get into the crime scene with all the cops over there. But by 9 in the morning, he surely thought that place would be swarming with cops. He wanted to go check and get a thrill out of seeing all of the people there. Yeah, you're probably more likely to be right, Pam, but I think there's a chance that it's he left it there as a calling card, which we went over yesterday, the differences between calling card and signatures. Now, signatures is sort of like how the murders were committed, and but like it didn't have to be done that way, but it was because that's how they do it. Something that you could recognize the killer by how they killed somebody. Which is, there is an overlap with the calling card, but a calling card is something specifically left, generally to taunt the police and just to let them know that you were there. And a signature has that effect, but it wasn't like, that's not why they left it there. Right? You see how that sort of, the calling card is something specifically left, like a playing card or something, or, maybe some writing on a mirror, something like that. Records business. Video was provided. The video was kept by Sunset, their regular course of business. They don't have a time on that one, right? Oh, there it is. That's the 5:25. There you go. So that one was at 5:25. That's when it's coming back. All right, what was the other one? Bagel shop. Let's see how many, if we go like this. Look for 3 colon. How many times is that going to show up? That's what I want to look at. That's the Linda Lane footage. That's DoorDash. Man, that was so amazing. God, I love that. Was something I've wanted to know for so long. Hey, thanks, Kel, for all you do. Thank you. Well, thank you. Hey, by the way, after this is over, make sure to go watch the video that I put out earlier today that shows the first 2 passes in detail, even with these flashing lights and everything. And then I'll be adding, I don't know, it might take a few days to make the second half of that, just because. Maybe I'll get started on it right after tonight's show. But if anybody finds some other interesting elements in these documents, let me know. Where it is, etc. Yeah, it's 302 at Floyd's Cannabis. Sunset Mart. Oh, I want to see that one. Is that the one I was looking for, right? 40 Sunset Main Street, Moscow, Idaho. Surveillance video. Okay, I got to put that in there. Now I got the address right here. See, I think that's the one we were just at. But we're gonna have to take a look at this. Oh, okay, that's the A&W. All right. Darn it. Surveillance video for November 13, 2022. This footage is maintained by a business. The state would seek admission of the documents. And then Sunset Mart surveillance video for November 13th. Why do they have 2 of them for Sunset Mart? 2 entries here. TikTok, Umpqua Bank. That's the chef store down in Clarkston, where he was next to Kate's Cup of Joe. Yeah, pretty cool, man. Awesome. Well, I think that's going to about do it for me tonight, you guys. I don't want to keep just lingering on, but why don't we, since you guys reached the goal, we can sit around and talk about stuff. So what are you guys thinking about? Go ahead. Yeah, we definitely got to the goal there. The night, for sure. So, no one has come forward proclaiming his innocence, even himself. Right. Well, no, there's a whole bunch of people coming forward, claiming he's innocent. All the pro-burgers, these nut jobs out there that literally spend their entire day believing a quadruple killer with 0 evidence that he didn't do it, with a mountain of evidence that he did do it. They think he's innocent. I don't. Yeah, we just went over that. Misbehaving. You must have missed the show. We went over that entire thing that you just mentioned. He's right here. He's driving right back here at 3:59. He's coming back like this. As a matter of fact, I have all these in here. Look at 3:59:04. He's heading south. He's right here, and he can see that DoorDash I wouldn't be surprised if they passed each other. Like when he was leaving, the DoorDash person came in and he slowed down over here to watch. Then, after seeing the DoorDash going to the house, he's like, how dare you, you're interrupting what I'm doing. He turns around over here, comes back, and then just flies by here. And then he ends up over here at 401:30 going this direction. And that's when the camera got a picture of the missing front license plate. So thank you, DoorDash, for providing that. Wait a minute, I thought it was the same guy. You always said it was the same guy. Yeah, there you go. There's the proof. The white Elantra that was in there was leaving as the DoorDash driver was right here. What's going to be amazing is the camera on the 1112 King Road building is going to show the Elantra leaving, and then just in the same time frame, another car is coming in. That is a DoorDash vehicle. And then you'll see the lights up on the hill as the DoorDash is coming by. Oh man, that's going to be good stuff. That is going to be good stuff. See how this is getting way more interesting now that there's a lot of facts coming out that we can all put together. And yeah, so he's driving back behind there, and it was 401:14. Yeah, so look at 3:59:04 is when DoorDash is basically there, and then at 4 o'clock and 14 seconds he's coming back, so he's heading south on Walanta Drive, and then he heads north again, like he turned around, and he's back there in 1:10. And then he zips by, right here it says, and then 1:15 after that, he drove from right here all the way over to here. And then just a few seconds after that, he goes down this direction, and then these cameras pick him up, or at least one of them did. And then he makes his way back around, probably waits back here, letting the DoorDash clear the area. Then he makes his way back around, then he comes in, does a 3-point turn, turns around, comes back, U-turn over here, and all the while he's monitoring the house slowly. Then he comes back around here at 4:07:28, and then 4:07:47 lights hit the building, and he parks likely right around 4:08. And I've been saying that for how many months now, that he likely parked around 4:08. Remember that? Yeah. So I think Coburger in January of 2022, he was starting to already plan a homicide. Whether or not he picked these victims at that point, we don't know, but he could have, and that's probably why he ended up wanting to go all the way over to Washington. He probably followed them on social media somehow and made a decision, maybe just for Madison Mogen, though. I mean, I used to think he went there to kill everybody all the girls in the house that night. But when you see the situation, it almost feels like 3 of the people killed that night just happened to be in the way of what he was doing. Yeah, I've gone over the path leaving, etc. Yeah, like when he leaves, he drives like this, okay? And then his normal looping, he'd go like that. And then one time he went like this. However, when he was leaving, he went like that, and you have to go this certain direction. I mean, it looks like he could have gone out onto right there, but apparently there's surveillance cameras that he didn't pass. Was that even there back? Yeah, it wasn't. That's what I was saying. I didn't like this guy. That's how I know this case, right? Watch this. When I just saw this just now, I went, "Wow, I don't remember seeing that exit right there." See that? See that right there? I don't remember seeing that exit because he could have gone out that way. I was just shocked right now to see that. So then I went back in time, and look at that. Can I get a boom? See, it just shows the memory. Look at that. He had no out there because it was under construction in July of 2022 and wasn't completed. So anyways, to get out of there, you had to take this right here because he would have gone this way had that been available at the time. But he went like this and around and down and out right there and then shot out this direction, then down this highway. And it isn't really that far, to be honest with you, miles-wise, to get to Blaine. It's about the same distance it is to Pullman, maybe even less. And so when he left at 4:20 and 47 seconds, he should have been able to get here by 4:32-ish, and he got there at 4:48. So there is 18 or 16 minutes of missing time somewhere out here where he likely went and got rid of the knife and maybe even the plastic bags. Maybe he found a random dumpster far away from the crime scene, put some of that in there, don't know. Maybe buried it. Yeah, I've gone over that 1,000 times. Yeah, and I went there. When I was there the first night, I couldn't make it around, even though it just like I've seen the map 100 times. I came around and I was like, oh God, how do I do this? And I couldn't do it, but I worked my way through it. And then the second time I came around, it was a little bit better. The third time I was like, oh yeah, bing, 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 bing. I just could do it so easy going around. And I could go out there right now and drive any of these directions and do it because I'd been there. And I've only been there a couple times. Now, when he went there those nights, he probably drove around multiple times. He had that place memorized. He knew exactly how to get around. And by the way, isn't this more interesting to just talk about how, because Coburger is the killer, everybody. We don't have to talk about, now what about the cartel? And what about the one lady who had the, it's just, what a waste of time that is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. I think my original theory was he went to the house to kill all the girls in the house. But it's evolved into Madison Mogan because he seemed to park and watch up there. And so it could still be he did go there to kill everybody and things just went awry. He wanted to do it quietly in each room. However, if he was going to leave a signature, maybe he was just going to kill one, not a signature, a calling card. Maybe he was just going to kill one person. Mm-hmm. All right, everybody, hit that like button on the way out the door and subscribe to the channel. And make sure to hit that notification bell so you can actually watch the video next time. And put a 1 in the chat if you enjoyed the show tonight. I thought it was pretty interesting. Man, that 359 thing is just boom. Of course, they don't have the seconds in there, right? But it's close enough to when he's driving around. They don't have, was it really 359 exactly? Hey, cool. I'm glad you guys liked it. All right. So let's see. Don't worry, I won't try the... Okay, now everybody send in a super chat. Now look how little respond. I'm beginning to think he wanted to be caught. He has a degree in criminology. I don't know. I don't think so. He's just not as smart as he thought he was. Incognito mode. Walker. I think he definitely wanted to get away with it. Pam from New York. That's why he was separating his trash at his house. Alley Cake, and then Amber Maiden with a cat eye donation. And Alley Cake, and Timothy Cecil, and Wise Child, Marjorie Morse, Cheryl, Blue Line King 7. Thanks for the content and being the voice of sanity. Alley Cake, 5 gifted memberships. Then Timothy Moore. Then Brennis Bratt. Then Egier. CR. Bridget Bauman. CR gifted a membership. Then Ozzy Trisha. Then Bridget Bauman gifted one. Then again, I guess. Yep. And then Cheryl Oster. Moofies. K-Me. Alley Cake. Mallory Beavers. Mallory Beavers again, or was here for 2 months, I mean. And thank you. And if you're a channel member, you should stay a channel member. Mallory Beavers, then CR, then Vogue, then Texas Shrink, then Walker, then Alley Cake, Mallory Beavers, RDWWDR, Alley Cake, Wise Child, Name and Badge Number, MM24, Allegedly Lisa, Bleak Pod, Moofies gifted a membership, Bridget Bauman gifted one, then we had Thea Roy, and then Joel Burnt, CR gifted one, and Love the Sun 100, Desi Wezzy, Let It Be 77, GSUPM, Kelly, thank you, and Jax D, greatest work like always, or great work as always. Then I gifted 5 memberships, and we had Sammy Day, Rebecca Medley, Von Dawson, Sasset, Fick, F-I-K, and then Random Bogey, M10, Cool Kitty again, then S.J. Waits gifted him one, then Pam from New York, then Kel, and Natalie became a new member just now, right at the end here. Then we had Susie and someone. That's all it says is someone became a supporter on Buy Me a Coffee. Then we had, it feels like there was something else in there. Oh yeah, and then, who's this one? Oh, and then Diane became a monthly supporter on the Buy Me a Coffee. That was very kind. Thank you. And then Mallory on Buy Me a Coffee. So I guess there was Mallory, Diane, Susie Clue, and then someone, it says. And then there's also Marine Co. with a PayPal. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Made up for yesterday. Got kind of squared away there. Kel gifted another membership to Elizabeth Brown. Hey, thank you. Yeah, so when you guys are all done, why don't you guys all go back out and watch that video again that I did earlier today, all right? And just kind of, help out the channel a little bit. We have to get it shared. Like when I make videos, if you guys all go out and share the videos, I think I would be doing a lot better. But a lot of times people watch it and then they move on to something else. But hopefully we can get more views on the videos to take pressure off my shows a little bit. Yep, past 3 and 4 are going to be the good ones, but the better ones. But you got to get 1 and 2 in first, and they take forever. So, but I think I have a better, the way I did it on this last one, I had a consistent speed of the vehicle the entire time, the exact same speed on the whole route, and then I used YouTube to slow it down or speed it up, the different spots. So sometimes it's, it's not perfect, the frames and everything. I think that's a better way to do it, actually. And nobody ever comes to a full stop. I do, Gray, I really do. Okay, you do. Okay. Yeah, man, it's great getting these documents, man. And I feel so vindicated, like a lot of vindication when you get every single thing that comes out. Has there been one piece of information, just one, that's come out that you went, man, that really points to not being Coburger? Now, those other little 2 DNA splotches they got on there, that doesn't point away from Coburger. If he wants to say that he had a couple friends come with him, he might as well. You can go ahead and do it. But what is out there that really points away from Coburger doing it? And the answer is nothing. Okay? There's been absolutely zero information put forth by the defense or anybody of any kind besides the nutjob YouTubers who are inventing stuff for clicks and views. And this is what they do in every case. The same wackos in the Delphi case, same mentality. And that being said, you can go to trial and you might have a foreman that is one of these nut jobs, and he might be found. I think there'd be almost zero chance, given the information we have, that he'd be found not guilty. I could see one of these idiots, because you see them in the chats often, how they're just, I don't know, man. I just don't feel comfortable with this kind of. What are you talking about? So one of those people gets on there, they're just never going to. That means they are irrational. Like somebody got mad at me the other day and said, Gray, I would never want you on a jury. You're not open-minded enough. And it's like, no, I am. I look through everything. I see it. Okay, that's what you want me on the jury. I'm the one that would actually, if there was information that was presented to me that made me go, wow, I think they got the wrong guy, I would throw it out there in a second. And I really would. Okay? They're the ones that you don't want on a jury, though, that pretend that there's some magical facts that exist that exonerate their person. It's weird. All right. Anyways, thanks everybody for being here tonight. I really appreciate it. If you guys could hit that like button if you haven't hit it already on the way out the door. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. And, you can always buy me a coffee out there on the Buy Me a Coffee link that's under the videos usually. Right. Right. That's what I mean. There's no way he'd be found not guilty. There's no chance at that. He could be found. There could be a hung jury because there's an idiot on the jury. And if somehow, by some miracle, I mean, obviously we have to wait and see how it's all presented, but if the facts that exist now, if he's found not guilty, this case will never be investigated again. And just like in the Delphi case, it'll never be investigated again. And the killer, who's Brian Coburger, will go free and be amongst us for the rest of our lives. All right? That's the truth. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Well, I wouldn't be on that jury anyways, Karen. But anyways, thanks, everybody. We'll see you guys next time. And as I always say, until that next time, be safe out there. And a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5.
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, thug rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya
On a stretcher, if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak collector, and I'm always gonna be a pop protector. Fool reflector, interceptor. Crime evil than a spectre with a vector on his pector with spectre. Just remember, conjecture, I have no agenda. I'm a pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without agenda.
And in the end, I'm gonna send ya
on a mission to reveal a true offender.
What in the hell was that, Mary Lou? That was terrible.
Go gosh, Gray, I was singing my best. You're so mean to me, Gray.
God, are you okay, Mary Lou?
Yeah, I'm just fine. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
Oh my God, she did it again. I thought she was really upset that time, but it turns out she was just a poser. Because you see how relaxed she sounded when I said, are you okay? She should have at least still been bawling a little bit because of the dramatic sound that she had prior to that.
Well, you got me all figured out, Gray. You got me all figured out.
All right, see you guys. That's right.